This is the Fantasy Roadshow.
Hey, how we doing? Welcome into another episode of the Fantasy Roadshow with your boys here. You can call me Truck. I'm joined as always by the wonderful, infamous, the great Shane O'Mac, and today we are talking all about tight ends. Isn't the best, most fun group to talk about, but it is important nonetheless. And Shane O'Mac, I am happy to be here with you today. Before we get into it, please like the video, subscribe to the channel. Podcast will be available on all platforms. Got to get that podcast up and running again, but we are here live on YouTube talking tight ends. Shane, how you doing, buddy?
Doing good. Yeah, we're going to have our own little tight end university episode today. So this could be the university where you could come and learn about tight ends from the fantasy's perspective.
Yeah, great plug there because the tight end U has been all over the internet lately. Taylor Swift was performing at tight end U. Jeremy Shockey made his first appearance at tight end U. I think it's wonderful that the tight ends do that. I think it helps, helps improve the game of tight ends in the NFL, and I think every group should be doing that. I know defensive ends did it for a while with Von Miller, and they did like the defensive end summit or whatever, but Saquon Barkley needs to do that with the running backs. In the offseason, these guys should be getting together and help and support each other. I love seeing it. So great plug there, Shane. But all right. So like I said, right when we first signed on before we started recording, going into it, I'm thinking there's probably not a lot to talk about here with the tight end group. I was wrong. As I'm setting this up, man, there's been a lot going on relatively recently. As of today, this recording is on June 30th. Jonnu Smith was just traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers. He joins Pat Freiermuth over there. The Pittsburgh Steelers also just got Jalen Ramsey. So the Pittsburgh Steelers are making moves, seemingly going all in with, what is most likely going to be Aaron Rodgers' last season in the NFL. He stated that on the Pat McAfee show. Shane, what is your initial reaction to Jonnu Smith joining the Steelers?
If you don't think that these two moves were driven by Aaron Rodgers, then you are kidding yourselves. I mean, this is 100% an Aaron Rodgers like, hey, listen, guys, I've got 1 year. Let's do whatever it takes to do. I like it from the team perspective. I think Jonnu Smith adds a definite needed additional offensive weapon for that team besides outside of DK Metcalf and a little bit of Freiermuth. He's a little bit better receiving run after the catch weapon than Freiermuth. So they're doing all they can with those two moves to try to keep that playoff streak alive.
Absolutely. And what this tells me the most, the acquisition of Jonnu Smith, is they're going to be running a lot of 12 personnel. They're going to be like probably 70% of the time they got two tight ends on the field, which adds more protection for Aaron Rodgers and helps out the running game that they love to employ. So, I think it's a great move. The Steelers were already good. A 500 team is their 500 win season or whatever, a percentage is like their floor every year. Now you bring in Aaron Rodgers, you bring in Jalen Ramsey, Jonnu Smith, like they seem to be making the right moves. So I think it helps them tremendously. So, all right, so here we go. We have our tight end rankings for 2025. Shane, right off the bat, obviously Brock Bowers and Trey McBride are going to be at the top of everybody's rankings, right? These guys new, cream of the crop, so to speak. George Kittle. I've said this in previous episodes. I will state it again since this is tight end university episode. I completely shit all over George Kittle last year. That was one of my biggest misses in the fantasy world on my end. Boy, was I wrong. George Kittle was an absolute monster last year. But I noticed when we're talking about tiers, you consider Kittle a step below Trey McBride and Brock Bowers. I consider them synonymous with one another in those top three are steps above everybody else. I just want to get your quick opinion as to why you didn't include George Kittle with Trey McBride and Brock Bowers.
Maybe it's a little bit of the slight injury history concern with him, why I just knock him down a slight tier of, and separate from them. I think age, injury history, I think those two are just the cream of the crop, and then it's just a slight step down with Kittle. But that's why I didn't put them. It's kind of that factor of trying to bank on him playing that I think he was at 14 games last year, trying to hit that mark again.
Yeah, 15 games
okay.
last year. Trey McBride played 16 and Brock Bowers played 17. I completely understand that if that's the stance you want to take on him. He is older and he does have the injury history, although he did play up to it last year. He showed that he can play the majority of the season last year. So I'm personally not going to factor that in. I think he deserves to be in that conversation with those other two guys. George Kittle did end as tight end 1 last year in a fantasy points per game, just 0.2 above McBride and Bowers, but still as the tight end 1 from a points per game basis. So, yeah, I'd be fine with any one of these guys taking Kittle later on in the rounds, right? Because we'll look at ADP real quick. I have that stated right here. Bowers is going in the 2nd, McBride is going in the 3rd, Kittle is going in the 4th. So when you're talking about elite tight end, I'd be fine taking Kittle in the 4th after I grab 2 wide receivers and a running back, or 2 running backs and a wide receiver, and still be considered having that elite tight end. The 49ers, we talked about them in the wide receiver episode, right? Their wide receiver room was completely up in the air. Brandon Ayuk isn't going to be fully healthy to start the season.
Mm-hmm.
You got Juwan Jennings and you got Ricky Pearsall. Both of them are great options. However, George Kittle is one of the main guys there for that offense. So I love what George Kittle did last year. I stand on my own my own wrongdoing there, and I'm looking to draft him in the 4th round to get that elite tight end.
Yeah, I think if he's healthy, no problems. I mean, he is going to lead that team in targets and catches for sure, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. So not much conversation as opposed to Bowers versus McBride. With those two, I think those are completely, Bowers had 3 more touchdowns. McBride did catch a couple touchdowns last year. He had 2 after not having any the year before, but still, I mean, both of them close to 150 targets is just insane production. So let's see if they can both get there this year. I think they can. I think they deserve to be drafted in the rounds 2 and 3. And depending on the build, I can't wait to, I keep talking about the mock drafts we're going to be doing. I'm excited that's going to be our next episode because I want to toy out with drafting Bowers in the 2nd and see how my team build goes and seeing how much I like it, because I'm not totally convinced of taking him in the 2nd as of now, but we'll see, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's work our way down a little bit for the next tier. We each are very kind of close here. I got Laporta. You have Laporta in there. I got Laporta at 4. I have Kelce at 5. You don't have him in this tier. Ingram at 6. Mark Andrews, another one you don't have in this tier. I have him at 7. Hockenson, I'm a little bit lower on, and David Njoku at the 9 spot. You got Kittle, Hawk, Ingram, Laporta, Njoku, and Tucker Kraft in that here. So I just want to speak on Sam Laporta real quick, okay? Mm-hmm. Now, Sam Laporta, after having an amazing rookie year last year, he kind of left people with a bad taste in their mouth, right? I personally think he's going to bounce back this year. He had that ankle injury, and he just didn't really seem fully healthy. Weeks 1 through 10 weren't great, but later on in the season, I think he really showed what he was capable of. He completely turned it around. Had some big games, scoring over 10 points in every single game, over 15 in probably I want to say 3 of the 7 games that were there. So I think Sam Laporta is in line with this offense, and I'm just banking on a bounce back. I don't know. What do you think about Sam Laporta this year?
Yeah, I think the 2 things that stood out for him, because everybody thinks just because off of that rookie season, it was such a down year for him. Like, there's 2 things when I saw about him that I liked. I said he still had 7 touchdowns. That's pretty good. I think he could go up even to that and be close to 9 or 10. But the other key thing I saw about him that I liked, he was in the top 5 of tight ends of red zone targets. So he's being targeted down there, which is
Absolutely.
a big thing. I think probably he's due for a bounce back situation. I think he'll probably be 2nd in the team in targets, I would imagine, after St. Brown. So,
yeah, I mean, he what was it? I think he led the NFL in touchdowns last year. No, I'm sorry, that's Mark Andrews.
Yeah,
he led the NFL, or he had 11 over 10 receptions over 20 yards. So he's still getting those deep targets that Ben Johnson loves to do with Sam Laporta as in previous years. So yeah, I think Laporta is in line for a bounce back. I'll talk about Travis Kelce. Okay, and again, this is a common theme with you in these draft rankings.
I am consistent. If I'm not, nothing.
I'll give you that. You are definitely consistent. You hate these old guys. You want them to kick rocks. You're not drafting these old guys. I, however, am still a believer. I don't know if that says anything about me being an optimist or a glass half full kind of guy where I'm not ready to throw it out yet, and I think there's still something there in the tank. But look, Travis Kelce, where did he end up last year? Tight end 7 in a points per game basis. I think he was even higher when you look at Travis Kelce ended up as tight end 5 last year. I know Rashee Rice is healthy. I know Xavier Worthy really played up to the hype last year. And the Chiefs are looking to make a statement this year after not winning the Super Bowl. But Travis Kelce is not someone that I'm really ready to, throw in the garbage yet. I think tight end 5, look, he had some of the worst metrics of his career, right, last year, but he still ended up as tight end 5. He's just he's not capable of being the number 1 tight end. He's not being drafted there anymore. Like, where is he being drafted on here?
Him pretty low.
Being drafted in round 9.
Yeah.
Like, I'm fine taking a flyer on him in round 9, right in the range with Mark Andrews. I think Kelce still has that really good rapport with Patrick Mahomes, and he is going to be that security blanket for him. You're not going to get those massive, massive games anymore, but taking a tight end in round 9, you're not, you know what I mean? You're not expecting that. You're not taking him in round 2 like we have been the past decade. Mm-hmm. So he's someone that I'm willing to take a shot on this year. I think he still ends up in this range of 4, 5, or 6 on the end of the season. I think he can still score a lot of touchdowns. He's very good in the red zone. And I think last year was a down year for him in touchdowns. He ended up with 3 touchdowns. I think that was his lowest mark since 2014. So, like, if that number goes up and, still had 133 targets last year, granted, Rashee Rice was injured. So, say what you want about the target share, but I think Travis Kelce is still a safe option, even in the 9th round.
So you think then that he will shake it off, the bad year from last year?
Yeah. Yeah, Shane, I think he is going to shake it off.
See, I had to bring the old dad jokes for the old tight end.
Yeah.
I think 2 things can be true. Like, one, I think he is declining. I mean, we saw yardage, touchdowns, run after the catch were all career lows for him. I think there is a decline in there. But I do think when you see his ADP, and if it stays at around 9 points, then I think he is someone that is a target for you to punt on the tight end position off of the early rounds and target that in round 9. I'm not for it probably in the top 6, but yeah, I kind of agree with you in round 9. I think that's when you can take him and gamble on last year just maybe being an outlier, and this year losing 20 pounds makes a difference or something. So
I will say, in the videos of him at tight end U, he's looking really good. Yeah. Like, it was nice to see him kind of coaching those guys. I don't know if you saw the same video that I saw on Twitter where he's, talking about breaking on routes and, really, giving these young tight ends some game. But I'm not ready to throw in the towel yet on Kelce. I think that's my whole point there. I think he's being drafted at a reasonable rate, and I'd be fine taking him, even with the production they had last year. I think he still had a solid season. So. Yeah. All right, TJ Hockenson. I don't really have much to say here. He's a great tight end. It's a common theme with me and the Vikings. I'm not ready to say that they're going to be a legitimate fantasy offense with JJ McCarthy. And this is another one where, just like Kittle last year, I could be completely wrong here. However, I'm taking Laporta, Kelce, Andrews, Ingram. I'm taking them all over TJ Hockenson this year. So I guess that just means I'm out on TJ. You, on the other hand, have him at tight end 4. So tell me why I'm wrong.
Yeah,
I
think.
Okay, all right, hold on. My cat is stepping on the keyboard here. You, Shane, on the other hand, have him as tight end 4. So tell me why I could be completely wrong here with TJ Hockenson.
Yeah, I think it's just like I would caution owners, like, don't just look kind of like the overall stats from last year from him. Like, he missed, I think it was the first 7 weeks of the season coming back from that ACL injury. Even in the 10 games he played, he was only playing 60% of the snaps. So he obviously wasn't fully back and recovered from that knee injury that was limiting him. I just think I'm going to look more at what he was doing prior to that knee injury when he was at like 80% snap share. He was around 14 or 15 points per game in fantasy wise. I think when you look at what we would call McCarthy as a rookie kind of quarterback, I think there's going to be a tendency to kind of rely on that safety valve of Hockenson across the middle. We've got the chance that Jordan Addison misses 3 or 4 games due to suspension. So now maybe you're looking at Hockenson as the number 2 target, number 2 guy of receptions, at least to start off the year. That's kind of what I'm banking on, at least this year from him.
And that makes sense. Look, in that offense with rookie quarterbacks, they do tend to target their tight ends a little more. So that is a good reason to still believe in TJ Hockenson. And he's just a great tight end. All right. Like, they acquired him for a reason. I love TJ Hockenson. I don't believe that this is a year where he can be a top 5 tight end, or he can be. I just don't think he will be, put it that way. So, all right. So what about Mark Andrews? I have him at 7. You have him down at 11. I still consider him in this tier. I had mentioned the tight end leader. That was Mark Andrews, right? Where I misspoke earlier, but he ended up with 11 touchdowns last year.
No.
That one surprised me because I wasn't really, as I was going through this, I was like, wow, he really did score 11 touchdowns last year. And that was after the beginning of the season with the whole Isaiah Likely thing, which it just kind of was hilarious to me, where everybody picked him up and then he kind of disappeared. But yeah, after week 6 on, I think he scored in every game except 2 games from week 6 all the way to week 18. So, he's got a great connection with Lamar Jackson. And if it's not Lamar Jackson running in a touchdown and it's not Derrick Henry running in a touchdown, it's Mark Andrews catching a touchdown, right? That's the way that the offense produced last year. So Mark Andrews to me is still a very solid pick. He's going in round 9, kind of with Travis Kelce. Both of these guys I'd be fine taking in this range after missing out on an early tight end. So there's not much else to say about it. He's a great red zone threat. He's got a great rapport, and that offensive wide receiver room is very subpar with Rashad Bateman and who's the other guy?
Zay Flowers, Bateman.
Zay Flowers. Yeah, so like that, the room isn't where your average wide receiver room should be. So Mark Andrews is a great option to me, especially in the 9th round.
The what concern for me is, we saw a decrease last year in his usage. Like, his target share went down quite a bit, receptions down, yardage down. It is a little bit, the concern I have with him is a little bit what we have with Flowers, where while it's not the best receiving room, Lamar can spread out the ball. I don't know if I'm going to bank on 11 touchdowns again. They did sign DeAndre Hopkins. Maybe Hopkins steals some of those red zone touchdowns away. Maybe he's kind of someone they try to utilize more down there, is why they brought him in. Isaiah Likely still going to be a thing. That's just kind of my concern is this kind of just a usage type thing, and he may have trouble. I mean, I was really hoping like he would have got traded to somebody, like if he would have went to the Chargers or something like that, because I don't think he's like washed or anything. I would have loved to have seen a move like that for both him and Likely's fantasy value and dynasty value. But that's just probably my concern with it is the usage. If we can bank on the double-digit touchdowns, then he's got a shot. I mean, there's 2 paths. I mean, we have like 10, 15 years of data. I read this article, I wish I could remember who to attribute to, but to be a top 5 tight end, you either have to lead your team in targets, or you have to reach double-digit touchdowns. So you have to be very highly targeted, very high receptions, or double-digit touchdowns. So
he's capable of it, right?
He's
He's capable of the
Yep.
double-digit touchdowns.
He
What we
is.
saw last year. Played 17 games last year, but you're right. The ghost of DeAndre Hopkins could come in and vulture some touchdowns away in the red zone. We know how lethal he is down there. Although last year wasn't a great year for the aging veteran, but I'm willing to take a chance on Mark Andrews in that range. So, all right, what about let's see. You moved Jonnu Smith, right? We talked about Jonnu Smith at the beginning of the episode. Let's just talk about where we're putting him with Pat Freiermuth. You have Jonnu at 13, Freiermuth at 18. So you got Jonnu ahead of Freiermuth. I have Freiermuth ahead of Jonnu, and I have them both down at 18 and 20. I just think it muddies the waters for their fantasy production. Aaron Rodgers does love targeting tight ends. I was really happy for Pat Freiermuth when Aaron Rodgers got announced to go to Pittsburgh. I heard Freiermuth was the first person to contact him. He's actually locker mates with Aaron Rodgers. There was a lot going there with the vibe check for Freiermuth and Rodgers. And then you bring in Jonnu. It just muddies the water for both of them. I don't think I wouldn't be happy to have either one of them on my fantasy team, banking on any type of production on a weekly basis. But you have Jonnu at 13 and Freiermuth at 18. So you think Jonnu is approaching that tight end 1 status with top 12?
Yeah, I think a couple of things. Like I think one, like I always tend to, when there's been ambiguous like running back rooms or something, I try to tend to follow the money or the move the team made. And so I feel like this has been kind of talked about for months, really. I feel like there's a reason why they made this move. Like he brings a skill set that Freiermuth doesn't. I mean, it was from week 6 on, no tight end scored more fantasy points than Jonnu Smith did last year.
That's correct.
He was, I think, at 16 points per game. I just think, like I said at the beginning, he offers kind of a yards after the catch ability that Freiermuth doesn't. And I think there'll be plenty of opportunities because after DK Metcalf, there's not much in the receiving room. And I think you're dead on as far as them running 12 personnel, having the 2 tight ends out there. I'll bank on the more athletic guy and the one that they made a concerted effort to bring in.
Am I wrong? Did they? I think I saw something online, and it may have been bullshit. Not sure, but did they sign Keenan Allen?
I have not seen that as being an official move. No, they've been rumored to him, but no, I haven't seen that. No.
All right. Yeah, I thought I saw that as I was scrolling Twitter. I wasn't sure, so something I should have checked prior to the episode. But yeah, maybe not officially yet, but if they bring in Keenan Allen, they're cooking with gas. But yeah, I don't know. I understand what you're saying with the run after the catch, and he did perform really well last year. So maybe they brought him in for a reason. I'm just I'm willing to be wrong about that one. Put it that way. All right, so we got through this range of the second tier of tight ends. Njoku, I'm really excited about this year. I think Njoku had a great season last year. It showed that he's capable of leading the team really in targets and receptions like that. Outside of who's the wide receiver? Help me out. He's just a guy, as Steve Smith likes to say.
In Cleveland, it's Jerry Jeudy and Cedric Tillman.
Yeah, Jerry Jeudy. My brain is just not operating really well right now. I've recently lost 20 pounds, Shane, and I'm like, doing the fasting. And for some reason, when I'm fasting, my brain is just not firing on every cylinder. So pardon me for not remembering names. But yes, Jerry Jeudy and Cedric Tillman, all those guys. I think David Njoku really stepped up last year, so I think he's worthy to be in this range as well. Someone that, Jake Ferguson, you have him at 10, I have him at 11. I was really excited about him prior to the signing of George Pickens, but Jake Ferguson I still like this year. I'm willing to put him really close to the top 10. You have him in top 10. I have him right outside, but I think he's legit as well. Dalton Kincaid, we both have 12. If Coles was still on the podcast, I wonder where he would have Dalton Kincaid at this point in this offseason, because he has always been the highest on Dalton Kincaid. He'd probably have him a tight end 1 still, if I had to guess. But what is it about Kincaid, man? I feel like he has all the potential in the world. Dawson Knox is still there. What's going on with Kincaid?
I don't know, because like the talent is there. I don't know if it's a coaching issue with him or what, but I mean, like I think he never cleared more than 53 yards of receiving in a game, which is just crazy when you have Josh Allen at quarterback. I was high on him last year. I took him within the top 4 rounds.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not making that mistake. I'm going to just probably let others take him. He's got the pedigree where they drafted him high. You maybe think he takes the year 3 leap, but I'm just not banking on, that happening when you've got, I think Keon Coleman probably maybe he takes a step up this year.
Mm-hmm.
You still got James Cook taking away rushing opportunities along with Josh Allen. It's hard for me to see him make that big, huge jump.
Look, the snap percentage was there, right? Week 1, 84% snap share. Weeks 4 through weeks 9, he had over 50%, closer to 60%. So, and then he got hurt, but still, it was just very subpar, just not what you wanted to see from Kincaid when you're drafting him very high. So a lot of people have bad taste in their mouth because of him in the season last year, but I had trouble where I wanted to rank him. I don't know about you, but he was one of the toughest guys for me. In this range with Gesicki, Goddard, Tyler Warren is someone we're going to talk about next. You don't have Tyler Warren on your top 24, I noticed.
That is probably an honest mistake. I think when I was shuffling around people right before the episode, moving Jonnu and everything, I think I clipped him out. Yeah, okay. I had him more like in the right. I think I would have had him put right in between Hunter Henry and Brenton Strange. So
in between Hunter Henry and Brenton Strange.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna drop Ertz.
Yeah, good catch on that one.
It's all right.
That's what happens when we get breaking news, folks. Here,
I was surprised too, because I was like, wow, he is low on Tyler Warren.
That's a good admission.
That is funny. So anyway, talk to me about Tyler Warren. I think he has a lot of potential. I'm really excited for Tyler Warren. I think there's a lot of opportunity there for him. But what do you see in Tyler Warren for this season?
Yeah, I'm going to bank on just the talent, man. I mean, when you look at him from college tape and he reminds me a lot of George Kittle, honestly. Mm-hmm. So no matter if it's, I think it's a little more helpful if it's Daniel Jones, but even if it's Anthony Richardson, I'm just going to bank on the talent winning out and being able to produce some good quality games. There could be scenarios where there's some games where he leads the team in targets. I mean, we saw a pretty down year from Pittman last year, got Josh Downs, but they've never had a tight end that was close to this ability as far as run after catch. They could give him the ball rushing, even to like when they get around the goal line, do different things with them is what excites me.
Yeah, I'd love to see them be creative with him, right? Yeah. I mean, the guy's kind of like that X factor on the football field with an offense. So I just think he has a lot of potential. We've been getting very, very good fortune with these rookie tight ends. Mm-hmm. I'm not expecting a Brock Bowers type of year with Tyler Warren. That's why I'm down at 15. But, I mean, where is he being drafted? Let's double-check ADP on Tyler Warren. Round 12. Right around David Njoku and Tucker Kraft. I will gladly take him in round 12. Mm-hmm. At that ADP, I think, I'd even maybe take him in round 11. Behind Evan Ingram. Jonnu Smith was being drafted in round 10 prior to the news that broke today. So he's got a star next to his name. We'll see where he falls or where he rises to, depending on how people feel about him. But, Evan Ingram. After Evan Ingram, I'd be fine taking Tyler Warren next. Around 10 or 11. I think he's got a lot of potential. Mm-hmm. All right, what else do we see here? You got Chig Okonkwo at 14.
Yeah, I love Chig this year.
Really? So tell me why, because he's not even in my top 24.
I love him.
I was looking for people to bump out of the top 24, and Chig is probably tight end 25 for me. I understand. I'll just say my piece. I understand Cam Ward is coming in, is going to be a good quarterback for this team, but Chig Okonkwo, he's always been like the all right, I got one more pick left in this fantasy draft. I think I need another tight end. Let me grab Chig. Chingosium on Quosium, as Coles likes to call him.
I just think two things. Like, I don't know if a team has a bigger quarterback upgrade than this year, even with Cam Ward being a rookie. From weeks 12 to 17 last year, he was a top 10 tight end. He's got a full-time role. It's Calvin Ridley and a bunch of nothing else there. I think he is the number 2 receiving option as far as targets and catches most games. He's very athletic, yards after the catch, broke away a couple long catches for touchdowns. I just think he just has needed a quarterback besides Will Levis or Mason Rudolph to try to unlock him. And I just think he's a prime candidate to be a good target volume guy that you get later in the drafts.
Yeah, I'm still out on Chig. I understand where you're coming from, though. I've been waiting for the breakout for Chig, but coming on to year 4, I believe, for his career, I don't know. It's tough for me to believe in Chig Okonkwo as a sleeper tight end, as I would call him. But yeah, I don't know.
What's tougher for you to buy into, Chig or Kyle Pitts is going to happen?
honestly, I have Kyle Pitts at 23. It's harder for me to go in on Chig than Kyle Pitts. Okay. Kyle Pitts has let us down time and time again. When you want him to be great, he just isn't great. But that's something. This is my fault. I wanted to look at what he did with what he did with his new quarterback last year, Penix. What do you know off the top of your head what he was able to do last year with Penix on the games that Penix played?
Yeah, I can pull him up here.
I know, not great. I mean, ended up as tight end 40 in week 18. He ended up as tight end, scored a touchdown in week 17. But either way, the talent is there. The opportunity is there. Yeah. He's got an upgrade in quarterback play. To me, Kyle Pitts, I'm not advocating for people to draft him again. Okay. I'm not, but in the later rounds, I don't even know where he's being drafted. Kyle Pitts round 15. So, if he's probably going to fall to 16, which is usually your last round of the draft, 16 or 17, I'd be fine taking a last pick on Kyle Pitts. I obviously I'm going to have a tight end as a starter, and he's going to be a backup tight end, but he's someone I'd be willing to take a shot on, just for the chance that you never know with this Falcons offense and Penix getting what he's able to do with this offense. But Kyle Pitts, he's shown. I mean, he had a game last year, 88 yards, 91 yards, and 2 touchdowns in week 8. Like, ended up as tight end 2. Like, the ceiling is there for Kyle Pitts. It's the consistency, and it's
it's the games where we see 1 catch, 0 catches, 1 catch, 0 catches, 2 catches. Those are the ones.
Last year, he only had 1 game with 1 catch. Every other game, he had more than 1 catch. But I get your point, okay? I do get your point nonetheless. Kyle Pitts is hard to believe in. And I know there's some people out there that do believe in him. They got him ranked relatively high. Some guys I follow in the industry, where's Kyle Pitts? Someone has him up at 16. So, people do believe in him as a tight end 2, but I'm not ready to fall in that trap once again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, you have where's your tier break, after Jonnu or after Chig?
So pretty much after Chig, yeah.
Okay, so I'll get rid of that tier break then.
Yeah.
So we got a break after Chig, and then you got Brenton Strange, someone I want you to talk about. You have him up at 15. I'm still pretty high on him. I have him at 19. He's being drafted very late. Brenton Strange is being drafted in round 15 after Pitts, after Freiermuth, above Hunter Henry. Brenton Strange has a lot of opportunity in this Jacksonville team. With the absence of Evan Ingram, Brenton Strange could fill out into a legitimate tight end. You think so at having him at tight end 15. So tell me what is so appealing to you about him.
Yeah, so I mentioned it earlier. Like I tend to follow the team's direction, and for me that was a big thing when they made this big huge contract investment in their quarterback. The fact that they traded away Evan Ingram and traded him to another AFC team, that said a lot to me about what they believe in Brenton Strange, which was one of their draft picks. So I think that says a lot to me. Number one. I think number two, you look at the games that Ingram was sidelined for last year. He was playing over 70% of the snaps. When he got over 65% of the snaps, he was a top 10 tight end in 4 of those 7 games. He had that one huge week where I think he caught like 11 out of 12 targets for like 80 yards and something late in the year. So he shows that ability to have a big target reception game. I'm a believer in Cohen Duval of making that offensive better. So I think when you're looking at punting the position until the later rounds of taking a tight end one, this is probably going to be my number one late tight end to grab if I'm going to do that in drafts.
Yeah, and I get it. He's very appealing, right? He's with that offense. The offense should be improved with Liam Cohen. I'd be fine taking him as a tight end too. I normally don't draft 2 tight ends, but he's someone that's probably going to be a pickup, a popular pickup target. But I mean, with Hunter Henry, right? You got Hunter Henry below him. I have Hunter Henry above him. We both have Hunter at 17. Hunter Henry seems like a good option as well, as kind of a more steady kind of guy. You know what you're going to get out of him. He had a lot of targets down the stretch of the season. I mean, 9 targets, 8 targets, 9 targets, 8 targets, 9 targets. Like, that's great when you're talking about a tight end production that you're drafting that late. So it would be hard for me to take Brenton Strange over a guy like Hunter Henry. Pat Freiermuth, I'd probably move him above, put Strange above Freiermuth for the ceiling that could potentially be for Brenton Strange. But I mean, Coleston Loveland, right? I didn't know where to put him. It's really hard talking about. I got to take my time every episode talking about the Bears, right? And here it is. Coleston Loveland, I have at 16. He's being drafted at round 13. 2 rounds higher than Brenton Strange. Right around this range with Kincaid, Goddard, likely Ferguson. Like, I'd take the upside in possibly taking Coleston Loveland ahead of Kincaid, Goddard, likely Ferguson. Like, I'd be fine doing that in certain leagues. They really like what they saw in Coleston Loveland. Ben Johnson took him in at pick 10 in the NFL draft. There was a lot of rumors of teams calling up, trying to trade up to get Coleston Loveland.
Mm-hmm.
I still have Warren ahead of him, okay, but Coleston Loveland to me is someone that I'd be willing to take a shot on and see what they really plan to use him in this offense, and how often is he going to be split out wide? What's his route run rate in his snap percentage? I'd be interested to see that. But Coleston Loveland, I got a little higher than you. I think my Bears fandom is speaking on that one. But
I love the talent. It's just, man, there's so many weapons, and Cole Kmet is still around, and I mean, they are so loaded with receiving options. It's just tough to see, like, okay, what is that volume going to be like? I don't know. He may be so good that they got to get him the ball, and it's something like Laporta in his rookie year with Ben Johnson. That's in the range of possibilities.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so that covers kind of our top 24. Looking at ADP here, we just make this a little smaller to look through the ADP. talk about strategy, right? Tight end strategy. Are you looking to grab the elite tight end in Bowers, McBride, Kittle? Are you making that a point of emphasis in drafts? Are you fine waiting a little bit and grabbing a Hockenson, a Kelce, and Andrews, and Evan Ingram in round 10? And what about a late stab? Say if you completely punt on tight ends and need to grab one late as your tight end 1. What are you doing here with this strategy?
I'm probably last year I made a concerted effort to get a top guy. I'm probably going to be shying away from that. I love the value of a lot of these other tight ends later in the draft. You'll probably most likely see a lot of my teams have wait on the position and then going to take Evan Ingram in whatever that round is, even if he starts moving up to round 9 or 8. I think they made a concerted effort to get him. There's no strong number 2 receiving option on that team that's got an emerging Bo Nix at quarterback. We're just 1 year removed from Evan Ingram having, I think, 115 catches, which was the second, I think, most by any tight end ever. I think he's looking at a high target volume this year on that offense. So you're probably going to see me wait on the position. As much as I was crapping on old man Kelce, like you look at that, him and Andrews both in round 9 are great values, like compared to if I got to spend a round 3 pick on McBride or Bowers in round 2, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's great having that positional advantage, right? Because Bowers, McBride, and Kittle all on a weekly basis are going to outperform everybody else. And you're going to get that positional advantage, but you're paying up to get that. I would love Kittle in round 4. I think that's a good value to still have that elite tight end that I talked about earlier in the episode. But outside of that, you're right. The one that sticks out to me is Evan Ingram. Getting him in round 10 is insane value. And if I could have a team where I draft 9 other players and fill all my spots that I need with some backups and then still grab Evan Ingram as my tight end 1 is screaming value to me. So, but is he your drop off for comfortable tight end 1?
I think him, and I would also be confident with Njoku. I think Njoku is one of those guys. When I mentioned when I said to be a top 5 tight end, you've got to either lead your team in targets or have double-digit touchdowns. Well, there was 4 tight ends last year that led their team in targets per game. It was the top 2 guys, Bowers and McBride. Then it was Njoku, and then the guy you just mentioned a little while ago that we maybe need to start bumping up, and that's Hunter Henry. So there was just 4 tight ends that led their team in targets per game. So Njoku is probably the last one I'd be comfortable with as just drafting 1 tight end and going with it.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there. Would love to have Evan Ingram, but Njoku is a very serviceable tight end 1. Yeah. Getting him in round 12 again is great value. So I think we're waiting on tight ends this year.
Yeah,
I think that's what that says. As much as I would love Bowers, I would love Trey McBride, I would love George Kittle, I would love these guys on my team and have that look of that roster, but it's probably a smarter decision to wait and grab a tight end late. So, all right. So say I think that answers your stab at your last tight end 1. You want Njoku, but say you're waiting for Njoku and you get sniped. All right. Outside of Njoku, you can include Warren and Kraft if you want, but anybody else down this list, who are you most comfortable with as a tight end 1? Because there's a chance where I'm waiting on Evan Ingram, I'm waiting on Njoku. Bam, they get sniped right before you pick. Where do you pivot? Where are you pivoting to in that disastrous scenario?
I probably am going to bank on the breakout we saw from Tucker Kraft last year.
A lot of opportunity there.
There's a lot of things there. It was crazy. One of the stats I saw, but I'm making sure I got it right. Yeah, in the playoff game, and that was when Musgrave was back. It was like his 5th game back, so it's not like he was just back from injury. But Kraft played 90% of the snaps at the position. I just think, that's probably – it's not a high passing volume team. There's a lot of options, but just banking on the ability of the person, that's probably someone I would pivot to and be okay with. But when I get to these guys also, I would preface it by saying I would also not be afraid in week 2 to drop them for somebody on the waiver wire that pops up. I'm not going to have like, oh no, I got to hold on to these guys just in case. I'm probably at that point just shuffling in and out.
Yeah, you're streaming the position, right? Yeah, you got to stay water, but drafting a tight end that late, you don't need to hold on to them for sure. That's a good point. Yeah, and honestly, Dallas Goedert is another guy for me where
could be. Yep.
Dallas Goedert's a really good tight end.
He is good.
And this offense is the best offense in the NFL if you're basing off of last year. A lot of mouths to feed with A.J. Brown and everybody else. But Dallas Goedert, when he's on the field, he gets targets, and he gets targets deep as well. So he's someone that I'd be looking at. Jake Ferguson is always a good, just a serviceable tight end. I was very high on him. I would have Ferguson's scary high in my rankings if they didn't sign oh my god, my brain, George Pickens. If they didn't sign George Pickens, I would have Jake Ferguson probably close to my top 5. I'm not even kidding you. I love Jake Ferguson, so I'd be fine taking him later on in drafts. But I mean, outside of that, who else do we want to talk about? We talked about Hunter Henry. He's someone that we should consider moving up. Based on your assessment of the leading the team in targets or having double-digit tight ends. I think Hunter Henry has the opportunity for both of those things.
Yeah, for sure.
Could end up with double-digit tight end target or touchdowns and leading the team in tight end because wide receiver room, you got Stephon Diggs, and then you got a bunch of young guys. So if I completely punt on the position like Hunter Henry in like a break class in case of emergency type of situation, Hunter Henry is very interesting to me.
Yeah, so. I think so. Based off of the targets, he gets some red zone opportunities for sure.
Yeah. Mason Taylor as a rookie for the Jets is someone that's interesting. However, it's the Jets and Justin Fields. So not much going on there. But Mason Taylor does look like a good prospect and could have a promising career in the NFL. So other than that, Dalton Schultz, with that wide receiver room not being where it was at this point last season, because last season we were talking about, they got the 3-headed wide receivers over there. There's a lot of mouths to feed. Now that's not so much the case, and we still aren't drafting Dalton Schultz. So that's something we should look at as well. I think Dalton Schultz is being drafted too low.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Yeah, for sure, because it's just a bunch of unknown at receivers. And then just whenever, if T. Higgins misses a game or Jamar Chase misses a game, just pick up Mike Gesicki off the waiver wire. Guarantee he's going to put up double-digit points in fantasy.
I love Mike Gesicki. I feel like he was my streaming tight end last year. I was picking him up all the time with that offense. That offense is going to score so many points this year. Having the tight end on that team, Joe Burrow hasn't always loved targeting tight ends, and you got a healthy wide receiver group with T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, but Mike Gesicki is someone like that. There's a lot of good talented tight ends here at the end of the drafts. Even Zach Ertz with that offense in Washington. I know you love Ben Sinnott, right?
Yes.
Big Ben Sinnott guy. He's nowhere to be found on these rankings or ADP. And Zach Ertz last year had a really good season. So. And even Cade Otton, right? We're not even talking about Cade Otton. We haven't mentioned his name once. Cade Otton had some promising games last year. He passed the eye test. There was a couple good games where you wanted to stream him. So at the end of this draft, there's still a lot of talented tight ends. I think there's going to be many weeks where we're talking, hey, you should stream this guy. Hey, you should stream this guy. There's going to be a lot of options. So if you get stuck in drafts and you don't get a guy you want, and you're going to be streaming tight ends, if you're already planning on streaming tight ends, don't draft in the 9th round, or 10th round Evan Ingram or 12th round. Wait as long as you can and grab one of these guys and just load up on more wide receivers and more running backs for your team, because those are going to be more serviceable in the end if you're just planning on dropping this guy after a couple weeks.
Yeah.
So I think that does it, though. Are you satisfied with tight ends here, Shane?
I am satisfied. I think we have educated today at Tight End University at the Roadshow Academy. So I think we've got everyone ready to draft the position.
I think as well. And be on the lookout, guys. Again, if you want to be a part of our mock drafts,
Yes, that's good. Yep.
I'll mention it at the next mock draft. If you want to be involved, we'd love to have you. We're going to be knocking out quite a few mock drafts in the next couple weeks here. So outside of that, Shane, we gotta get back in the tank and figure out what we're doing here, gearing up to. We still have a couple weeks before training camp kicks off. We're in the dog days of summer. I said I've been losing weight. I've been hitting the pool a lot. And this lighting doesn't really do me justice. I've gotten a lot of color so far, but you can't really see it in this lighting with this camera I got. But how's your summer been, Shane?
Good. Getting ready to do a little vacation in a sunny location of the United States coming up. So I will be coming out of that tanned and ready for our mock draft.
All right. Awesome, dude. Well, that's exciting. Have fun on vacation, and I'll see you when you get back. Everybody else, thank you for checking us out. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel. Check out the Substack, thefantasyroadshow.substack.com. Make sure you follow us on all social medias. You guys are the best. Buckle the fuck up.